Like, I had no idea. In fact, I was really afraid of public speaking. But when you start to look backwards again, so I got my first experience in public speaking when my class selected me to give the graduation speech, when I graduated high school. And that was sort of my first sort of high and experience of getting in front of a crowd. And, I've always been a little bit of a black sheep and doing things unconventionally. And even at that time at the school, it was recorded on live television. And because I was representing my class, I wasn't the valedictorian, but it was sort of the class representative. They wanted me to represent the class in giving a speech. And so there are certain things that the head of the school probably didn't agree with and didn't want me to talk about. And so what I ended up doing is I wrote 2 different speeches. One that I had approved by the head of school and the staff of the school, and the other one that I actually gave. And you could see their blank looks on their face when I gave that speech. But I share that story because that essentially is how I've defined my life. Like, I don't do things conventionally. Like, if somebody is zigging, I'm going to zag, right? There's a great book by Peter Thiel called 0 to 1, which is probably one of my favorite books. And it's oftentimes talked about in the context of entrepreneurship. But I talk about it in the context of how to define yourself, how to become something unique. And I think what this concept is like, you need to sort of create your own little secret sauce, that makes you unique. Like, what's your competitive advantage? And so, sorry, going off tangent there a little bit, but going back to the story of speaking, that really set the stage in terms of me getting, that high of, being in party mode, right? Changing people, seeing people's emotions and changing people's lives on stage. But I didn't get to revisit that until after medical school. I got invited to give a talk at TEDx Mid-Atlantic. And that was sort of an accidental play. And in doing so, it really just sort of spawned this whole career in being able to give talks. And so in running companies and doing things unconventionally, I didn't realize that people found what I had to say is interesting and of value. And so when we sold, and we can probably get into this later, we sold a company in 2013 to Merck. And apparently the way I had built the innovation division for that company, I was the chief innovation and chief medical officer. That same year after selling the company, I was invited 40 times to come speak about my innovation practices. And sort of that was accidentally then rolled into a speaking career.